Hello students, in the previous classes we have seen that the equation of motion for a single degree of freedom system which has got a damping into it is mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0, and we also have seen that we have tried this solution x is equal to e raised to lambda t, and in order that this turns out to be the solution, lambda has to have certain conditions onto it. Lambda can take only these values which are minus c by 2m plus minus under root c square by 4m square minus k by m. Okay, and we also have seen that depending on what is this term, this under root term, all possible solutions can be categorized into three types, of which we considered the case 1 wherein this c square by 4m square was larger than k by m, and we ended up having two values of lambda 1 and lambda 2, where both of them were real and negative, and they kind of have shown a decaying solution. Case 2 was the one in which c square by 4m square was smaller than k by m, and in that case we landed up on two values of lambda 1 and lambda 2, which both of them were complex in nature, and real part of those complex numbers was having negative sign, and imaginary part was this real part was therefore responsible for decaying solution, and imaginary part was responsible for oscillatory solution, and hence together they gave rise to, we had a multiplication of this, and we ended up having oscillatory but decaying solution as this case 2. Okay, so this is one family of solutions, this is another family of solutions, and now we are going to consider a last family of solutions which we'll be calling as case 3. It is that family of solutions in which we end up having this c square by 4m square equal to k by m. Okay, so if system properties which are k, m and c are so chosen that k by m happens to be equal to c square by 4m square, in that case lambda 1 becomes equal to lambda 2, which we'll be referring to as lambda, and its value is equal to minus c by 2m. Okay, so we don't have two different roots, but we have repeated roots, and value of which is equal to this. Okay, now what is the implication of having these repeated roots? So you have, initially we were considering two possible solutions coming out of this, one was corresponding to lambda 1 and other was corresponding to lambda 2. Now we have solution x1 which is e raised to lambda t, and x2 also e raised to lambda t. So we don't have two different functions, so obviously we won't be able to construct x as c1 x1 plus c2 x2, because x2 is no different than x1. Okay, so as such we have not at all obtained x2. Okay, so this procedure has ended up giving us only x1, and x2 is something that we are yet to find. So we need to find out that x2, which is going to be a function of time. So that is going to be the first step that we'll be doing. We'll be finding out what is x2, and I'll say that x2 is equal to g of t into e raised to lambda t. Okay, x1 is e raised to lambda t, and I am considering x2 as the same function x1 times g of t. Okay, so if I consider this as possible solution, okay, then I'll try to find out what should be g of t. Okay, so what is happening? So let's try to have a look at it. What are the conditions? We know that e raised to lambda t is the solution, right? We want this new function x2, which is g of t times e raised to lambda t. So this x2 should also be the solution, that is g of t times e raised to lambda t should also be the solution, and when you superpose these two things, then whatever x that you obtain, that x is also solution. So e raised to lambda t is the solution, that we already know that it is the solution. x2 we want to be solution of the system, and we want x, which is superposition of these two, to be solution as well. Okay, so now let's try to have a look at it. So let's assume that whatever that we just now said, that x is the solution, is true. Okay, so if x is the solution, then mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx should be equal to 0. So what is x? X is equal to c1 e raised to lambda t plus c2 times g of t into e raised to lambda t. Okay, so what is x dot? If this is what is x, then x dot will be equal to c1 lambda e raised to lambda t plus c2 g dot of t times e raised to lambda t plus C2 lambda g of t times e raised to lambda t. This is what is x dot. Okay, if this is x dot, then what will be x double dot? X double dot will be equal to C1 lambda square e raised to lambda t plus C2 g double dot of t e raised to lambda t plus C2 lambda g dot of t e raised to lambda t. Now I'll be differentiating this term with respect to time, which will end up with C2 lambda g dot of t e raised to lambda t plus C2 lambda square g of t into e raised to lambda t. Okay, so we have obtained x, x dot and x double dot. So what we'll be doing is we'll be plugging in this value of x over here, x dot value will go over here and x double dot value will go over here. Okay, and if I do so, then what I'll get is, okay, so I'll be multiplying this x2 by m. So what I'll obtain is m lambda 1 c1 e raised to lambda t plus m c2 g double dot e raised to lambda t plus this term and this term is identical, so they'll get summed up and we'll end up with 2 m c2 lambda g dot of t e raised to lambda t plus this last term is remaining m c2 let me write down lambda square c2 g of t e raised to lambda t. Okay, so this is what is the first term, mx double dot. Now the second term, okay, second term is c x dot, that is c1 lambda e raised to lambda t plus c2 g dot of t e raised to lambda t plus c2 lambda g of t e raised to lambda t plus kx, that is k times, so let me try to see what is x. Yes, this is what is x. So what we'll end up with is k, I am sorry, so what we'll end up with is k c1 e raised to lambda t plus k c2 g of t e raised to lambda t. Sum of all these terms goes to 0. Okay, so these are all the entities that we have to take care of. Okay, sum of all these things will go to 0. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll categorize them. Okay, so how will I categorize? Let me show you how will I categorize. So what I'll do is I'll combine those terms which are having g of t, g double dot of t, g dot of t and no any g of t into it. Okay, based on g of t I am going to combine them. Okay, so let me first of all try to see those terms which don't have g of t into it. Okay, so what is the term which doesn't have g of t into it? This is the first term which doesn't have g of t into it. So I'll write down m lambda 1 c1 e raised to lambda t. Okay, so let me write down this term in a slightly different fashion. Let me take c1 common and write down all those terms which don't have g of t into it. So I'll end up with m c1 times m lambda 1, which is lambda itself, e raised to lambda t plus c lambda, I guess we have made a mistake over here, there should have been lambda square. Yes, it should be lambda square, so this should be lambda square over here. So m lambda square e raised to lambda t, c lambda e raised to lambda t plus k e raised to lambda t. This is the first set of terms, okay, in which c1 is common and these are all the remaining terms. Now I'll write second set of terms, okay, by taking g of t common. Okay, So let me try to club those terms which have got g of t into it. Okay, and let's try to see to it. What are those terms which have got g of t into it? So this is the term which has got g of t into it. Then this is the term doesn't have g of t. This has got g dot of t, so that is also of no use. This is the term, second term, which has got g of t into it, and this is the third term which has got g of t into it. So what I'll do is I'll write down those terms over here. G of t times c2. C2 is also going to get common out of all these, so we'll try to bring that c2 out. So what I'll be left with is m lambda square g of t e raised to lambda t plus, this is the second term, I am taking c2 and g of t out of it, so I'll be left with c lambda e raised to lambda t g of t I have already taken out, or maybe let me have g of t also inside. I can keep g of t inside, or I can take g of t out. That doesn't matter. Okay, so let me take it out. Okay, so let me not have g of t anywhere here. Okay, m lambda square e raised to lambda t plus c lambda e raised to lambda t plus, this is the last term from which I have taken c2 and g of t out, so I'll be left with k. Okay, now the third set, let me write down the third set using those quantities which have got g dot of t into it. Okay, if I take g dot of t, again these are going to be those terms. This is term number 1, let me mark it with star. Then another g dot of t term is this, which is this term. Okay, these are the only two terms, and both of them have got c2, that's why I've taken c2 also common. Okay, and if I take c2 common, then what I'll be left with is g dot of t times c2 into 2m lambda plus c times e raised to lambda t. Okay, I've intentionally written it that way. I've taken e raised to lambda t also common. Now I'll be left with only those terms which have got g dot of t into it. Okay, g double dot of t into it. So g double dot of t, so what are those terms? This is the only term, okay, which we haven't considered so far. Okay. So g double dot of t times c2 times m times e raised to lambda t. So all this first set plus this second set plus this third set plus this fourth set. So these four sets, when we sum them up together, then that should end up giving me 0 value. Now what we have said is that e raised to lambda t is solution, that we already have established. What does that mean? When e raised to lambda t is the solution, it means that m lambda square e raised to lambda t plus c lambda e raised to lambda t plus k e raised to lambda t should be equal to 0. Okay, so that means that this bracket should go to 0, so should be this bracket. Okay, so essentially if this bracket is going to go to 0, this entire term is not going to contribute, because this entire term will be 0. Since this bracket is going to be 0, then again this term is also not going to contribute, and this is also going to go to 0. Now we'll be left with only these two set of terms, okay, in which, okay, so let me try to write down this again. So the first set is g dot of t times c2 times 2m lambda plus c into e raised to lambda t. This is the first set of terms. Okay, now if you try to see to this block, what does this block try to say is 2m lambda plus c. Okay, what does this mean? We already have found out value of lambda. Lambda is equal to minus c by 2m. Okay, so 2m lambda is nothing but minus c, and this is plus c, which essentially is equal to 0. So if this bracket is 0, if this bracket ends up having 0 value, so when you multiply by any other thing to this 0, the entire stuff, this bracket goes to 0. Okay, so this first set of terms has reduced to 0. Second set of term has also reduced to 0, and this is the third set of terms which also has got reduced to 0. So what we are left with is only those terms which has got g double dot of t into it, and that tells us that g double dot of t times C2 times m times e raised to lambda t should be equal to 0. Okay, when will this happen? This will happen when any one of these four things is 0. Can C2 be equal to 0? Obviously we don't want C2 to be 0. Okay. C2 is the weight of other function, and we obviously don't want that function to be 0 always, right? Now what is this? This is mass. Mass cannot be 0. If mass is 0, then we are left with nothing. Okay. So we will better shut everything off. Okay. So that cannot be 0. It's not possible. Can e raised to lambda t be equal to 0? E raised to lambda t cannot also be 0, because if this is 0, then x1 itself is 0. So that also we don't want. So this is also not possible. So what does all these statements refer to? Okay, so all these statements refer to only one possibility, that g double dot of t should be equal to 0. It means that second derivative, we are looking for that kind of function g of t whose second derivative is 0. So when will this happen? When g of t is a first order variation of time. So that means that g of t is equal to a plus bt. Okay, so we have found out the form of g of t. So g of t should be equal to a plus bt, and hence x2, the function that we were unaware of, is of this form, a plus bt times e raised to lambda t. So now we have two functions with us. The first function x1 is equal to e raised to lambda t, and second function x2 is equal to a plus bt times e raised to lambda t. Now I can construct x as c1 e raised to lambda t plus c2 times a plus bt times e raised to lambda t. So I can write down x in this way. I can write down x in such a way: c1 plus c2a plus c2bt times e raised to lambda t. Okay, these are, c1 is constant, c2 is constant, a is constant. So I can write down these two terms as c3, another constant c3, plus these two, multiplication of these two constants, I'll write down that as another constant c4 times t e raised to lambda t. Okay, so I am left with such kind of expression for general solution. This is the general solution for case number 3. Okay, so when you end up with such kind of system properties, that c square by 4m square happens to be equal to k by m, in that case the solution that you should anticipate is of this form: c3 plus c4t times e raised to lambda t. Okay, lambda is having a negative value, that is minus c by 2m. Okay, so obviously this part represents decaying function. This is a linear variation. Multiplication of these two, you end up having decaying solution itself. There is no oscillation, no oscillatory solution is possible in case number 3 as well. So what was the case which gave us oscillatory solution? Only when c square by 4m square is smaller than k by m, you end up having oscillatory solution. Okay, otherwise displacement variation is not at all oscillatory, so mass will not oscillate. Okay, so so if you choose your properties k, m and c properties in such a way that c square by 4m square is, if it is not smaller than k by m, then no matter what initial conditions you give, you are not going to end up having oscillatory solution. Okay, so let's try to see how exactly c3 and c4 are dependent on initial conditions. Okay, so what we have is x at time t equal to 0 should be equal to x0. Okay, it means that x0 should be equal to c3, right? This is equation number 1. Okay, and I want x dot at time t equal to 0 to be equal to x dot 0. Okay, so in order to do that, let me first of all find out what is x dot. Okay, so we know that x is c3 plus c4t times e raised to lambda t, which essentially means that x dot is equal to c3 plus c4t lambda e raised to lambda t plus C4 e raised to lambda t. Right? What I've done is I've considered this constant, differentiated this with respect to time, then considered this constant and differentiated this with respect to time. Now I'll be evaluating this expression at time t equal to 0, which essentially means that x dot 0 is equal to this C3 is x0. Okay, so we know that this is x0. C4 is not going to give me anything, so this will be 0, this will be 1, plus this is, there is a lambda over here. Okay, so this is lambda and it's 1. Okay, plus C4 into 1, which essentially means that C4 is equal to x dot 0 minus lambda x0. Okay, this is what is the value of C4 and this is what is the value of C3. Okay, if I plug in these values of x3, C3 and C4 into expression of x, I'll end up having x as x0 plus x dot 0 minus lambda x0 times t, it's entire stuff multiplied by e raised to lambda t. Okay, so this is what is expression of x, okay, in terms of initial conditions. Okay, however, as just now I have said, whatever be initial conditions, okay, whatever be the set of initial conditions, you are not going to get oscillatory solution. So mass will not perform oscillatory motion for any choice of x0 and x dot 0, because that itself is not allowed, that kind of solution is not allowed for the choice of C, K and M. Okay, so what is the relationship between C, K and M? That determines that it is not going to show any oscillatory behavior. Okay, so this is case number 3. So we have seen all 3 cases, so 3 types of solutions, 3 sets of solutions, and now in the next class what we are going to do is we are going to see how exactly those solutions look like. Okay, and we are also going to write these 3 solutions in a slightly different way, which kind of involves certain typical jargons that we'll be using in vibrations. Okay, so the same solutions but written in certain different way. Okay, so we'll be having a look at that in the next class. Okay, so we'll stop over here for today. Thank you.